Administrators at over a dozen schools in Virginia now on the defensive as more parents question why their students were not immediately notified that they had won prestigious national merit scholarships. They accuse the schools of holding back the students who excel to spare the feelings of students who didn't do as well. That and other controversies of classrooms going woke is likely a major reason why more and more parents are choosing to keep their kids out of public school and school them at home. Let's bring in Carrie Lukas. She serves as president of the Independent Women's Forum and has 5 children enrolled in Virginia's public schools, including 2 at Langley High School, which was one of the culprits in this growing scandal over the non-notification of merit scholarships. So it started with one school, Thomas Jefferson, now spread to 17 schools in 3 counties, more than 1,000 students. But Fairfax County Public Schools denying any conspiracy. In a statement to ABC News saying, quote, to suggest a deliberate intent to withhold this information would be inaccurate and contrary to the values of the county. What do you say?
You know, it's interesting because I think it's great that there's going to be an investigation of this because we should get to the bottom of this. Perhaps this wasn't deliberate. The problem as a parent and as somebody who's been paying a lot of attention to what's been going on in our public school systems, it falls into a pattern of misplaced priorities. Okay, maybe they didn't do this deliberately, but one of the things that's disturbing as a parent is this sense that they've had a lot of priorities that aren't about academics at all. So you know, we need to look a lot more, but I think that parents also are starting to say, you know, a lot of us just want out. The good news is that in addition to investigating, Governor Youngkin and Virginia legislators are trying to give parents better options and help us have the choice to get out of public schools if we want to. And I think that's as important as any report because a lot of parents want to start voting with their feet and getting our kids elsewhere.
Yeah, homeschooling in the state of Virginia is up 56% in the last little while. And while Governor Youngkin is trying to preserve public school education, it's getting harder because the schools are doing things like this. Now, the governor, who we talked to earlier this week about this, wouldn't say that he thought it was deliberate, but he did point to this. Listen here.
Let's just remind ourselves that we do have a superintendent of schools in Fairfax County who claimed that equal outcomes for all students at any cost was her top priority. They've hired in equity consultants in order to drive this mentality, and it is not just not consistent with Virginia values, it's inconsistent with American values.
Shauna Yashar was here yesterday, and she said that she was told by somebody at Thomas Jefferson, where her son went and wasn't notified of his National Merit Scholarship, that, oh, we didn't tell them when we were supposed to because we didn't want other kids to feel bad about it. But this whole concept of equal outcomes is impossible. It's like saying that anybody who flies an F-18 or an F-35 in the Navy is going to go to Top Gun school. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, the only way for it to happen is for everybody to do really badly. That's if you want equal outcomes. That's a really dismal look at education, and it's obviously it's just so contrary to how we actually want our kids taught. Is you want them to be the best they can be, however that is, and it's sad. You know, when you think about the waste of money, you talk about all this diversity education and the focus on this on equity. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and
they're spending more than that.
Yeah.
The Virginia Association of Scholars, which is a conservative advocacy organization, found that on diversity, education, and inclusion, Virginia has spent more than $15 million on salaries just in 2020. It's likely much higher now that we're 2 years ahead of that. But here's what they said in this paper that they put out. The results of all of this is a malignant identity politics that turns women against men, ethnic group against ethnic group, and young citizens against their own civilization and country. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is one of when you think about the things that are most disturbing about what's going on in our schools, and it is this focus on division. Instead of seeing people as individuals, there is this desire among our schools to increasingly put people in boxes and say, you know, we can only have this many of this group and really separate people. And it's just a culture that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not what we want for our kids.
Carrie, thank you for joining us to talk about this. It's a huge concern for parents.